In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, we hit the third in the series of our How to Build a Pipeline of Profit, where we talk all about account management. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast. Today, it's myself, and we've wheeled Stuart back out again for the third in the series of the secret to building a pipeline of profit, which is all about account management. So good morning, Stuart. How are you doing
Morning,
today?
Ian. Fantastic to be here, as ever.
Good. So let's have a quick recap. We decided a little while ago to put together a podcast for the really important subject of account management, low-hanging fruit, client retention, client stickiness, how to extract more. And this whole series, this whole three episodes of the podcast, no sales, no marketing, no nothing. Don't have to worry about any of that. This is all within your existing client base. So we started off a couple of weeks ago, listening to episode 136, where we talked about the fundamentals and the context of account management. You hear people talking about it. You hear people talking about white space selling. What's it all about? What have we got to do? What's the opportunity and all of that kind of good stuff. So go and listen to that one again, and that will give you all the information about how to start putting into practice pretty much some of the tactics, tips, and tricks that we share with our clients at the MSP Growth Hub here. Then the second in the series was 137, funnily enough, and it was all about the strategy. How do you approach this? How do you analyze your clients, put them into categories? What standards are you working to? How does your packaging and pricing work, and all of this kind of good stuff? So we're starting to go from helicopter view, getting a little bit more focused now into some of the strategy. And today we are going to wrap it up. This is going to be the third in the final series, where Stuart and myself are going to be helping you with the tactics. What are the things I need to do, Ian? I don't care about the strategy. I know what it's all about. What do I need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to extract client profitability, to get that real stickiness in, and also opportunities? So Stuart, anything else you want to add to the opportunity that we've got here? Is we're bringing this 3 podcasts into land here with this account management. We've already said it's massive, but where are people getting stuck with some of the tactics and the things that they're doing that we're seeing out in the channel right now?
Well, the big stuck piece is actually not prioritizing it, not finding the time to do this on a consistent basis. It's sporadic, it's occasional, it's triggered by a client needing something, as opposed to or ringing you up to say, hey, I'm off because I need somebody different other than you. And you're one of the problems of not doing account management is, and one of the fears is, you're the last person to find out and they're walking out the door. So I think that the biggest challenge and issue is doing it consistently, like anything in life, whether it's running, dieting, building strength, whatever it is, having great relationships, you've got to do it consistently. And the opportunity that guys are missing out on is to deepen those relationships, be on the front foot with your clients, be at the table when they're talking strategy. You're one of the first people they call you in when they're growing, when they're changing, when they're needing to change the direction of the business. You're one of their partners. You are their virtual CTO. And the opportunity when you are seeing your clients regularly and having these strategic conversations, these business conversations, is we talked about the concept of building a moat around your business. People buy people in business. And so when you've got a great relationship with your clients, when they value you as a partner, you build this moat around your business that makes it so much harder for other people to scale, to get in, and therefore it protects the longevity. And with the MSP business model and the recurring revenue model, that is a game changer, because the longer you keep your clients, the more it compounds, particularly as you're adding new clients on a monthly, annual basis. That turns the business model into one very, very powerful.
And brilliant. And as you say, Stuart, it is one of the most powerful things, because you don't need all of these sales and marketing techniques. These people already know, like, and trust you, and they're in your confidence. And it's kind of like yours to lose, isn't it? Because with so many services and solutions coming up, whether it be around cyber, whether it be around the cyber resilience, whether it be around efficiencies, whether it be around any of the platforms that you're providing, there's so many opportunities here literally on a weekly basis to be having that conversation, telling them that something new's coming up. And if you're not having that conversation, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to maximize this opportunity.
And that's the thing about the not doing it consistently and proactively. When you don't find the time to do this, you're missing out on a massive opportunity. And so, yes, you might say, yes, I see my clients from time to time. But how is that conversation structured? And this is the thing we're going to talk about today, the tactics of kind of optimizing the conversation. And, there's a number of key building blocks for that, which we'll go into in a moment. But find the time, do it consistently, and it will transform the bottom line of your business ultimately.
And when you're busy, when you're busy being busy, whether you're getting caught up in the technical or whatever it might be, this is one of those tasks. This is one of those activities that if you just spend, an hour or 2 hours, every single week, the difference it will make for your business will absolutely transform. But you need to know what to do. You need to know what order to do it in. So the first thing you need to do is listen to the first 2 episodes of these podcasts, 136, 137. So Stuart, let's get into the tactics. What is the way that we would approach this to start to build in some sort of cadence, some sort of regime, some sort of schedule to really make this work?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you've done the strategic bit we talked about in the last podcast, which is you understand the kind of the ranking of your clients and who needs what when. So is somebody, you're probably not going to see them monthly, but who's quarterly, who's 6 monthly, who's annual, who's a face-to-face, who's a phone call, who's maybe, nothing, who's email only. So you've got your cadence and you've got your ranking and your priority list effectively. So that's one thing. The second thing is who. Now, for those MSPs that are probably less than 10 or 12 people, it's probably the business owner. But who is responsible for maintaining the relationships and the conversations with your clients? If it is you, then what's your plan to do it consistently? Is it in the diary? Is it a recurring meeting in the diary? That's the first thing. If it's somebody else, have they got that plan in their diary such that they are proactively planning to make sure that they are in touch with those clients when they need to? Now, one of the simple ways to do this is to turn it into a process and turn it into a ticket. All PSAs allow you to set tickets up for triggers. So if you've got quarterly or 6 monthly, why not have it set up such that on that date, it's triggered into a ticket? That way it becomes a robust process that is automated and measurable. The point is, if you've got other people doing it, you'll be able to have a look at their tickets, the ticket board, and see if they are being moved, completed, or otherwise. So that's the first thing. It's kind of setting yourself up for success, which is structure, tactical structure and success. The second thing is then preparation. Many people go, I'm seeing a client tomorrow. I'll just tip up, have a cup of coffee, see if they want to buy anything, and then leave. There's no planning. If you're going to plan properly, you would sit down with the rest of the team in advance and think, right, I'm meeting such and such a client next week. What's currently going on with projects? Are they completed? Have they started? Should they have finished? Have they been billed? Talking to the finance team, is this client up to date with their billings? Are they paying us, basically? Just little things that you need to know. Then also looking at their roadmap, if they have one. What did you talk about last time? What do you need to talk about next time? Ticket history, what's been going on? So that you go into that meeting prepared. And also, you send an agenda. Sending the client agenda to say, hey, this is an important meeting. We'll be reviewing what we talked about last time. We'll be talking about what's going on in the business right now. And there's a whole agenda that we send out for our clients as a template. That just sets you up for success. And also it communicates in advance to the client that the meeting's coming up. It's important. Have they got anything on their mind that they want to talk about operationally? Because if they do, you can point that to the help desk team or to the service delivery manager, so that when you go and have that meeting with the client, it's not taken up with distracting operational stuff, which could have been taken care of on the phone or through a ticket. Or you can ring them in advance and get that out of the way so that the meeting focus on strategy, roadmap, and all about them.
That's interesting what you say there, Stuart, because quite a lot of the time we hear people say, yeah, well, I've had a chat with my client and they don't really want a QBR or TBR. They sort of said they're all right. They're kind of in They know what's going on and they're quite happy with it. But this is obviously a massive opportunity for the MSP to go in and educate and provide more value. What would your response be if someone said that to you?
It's hard. It's hard changing the behavior of clients that you've already got. For some, it'll be easy. Some will never see the value of talking to again because they're tactical, they're transactional. But that's just the way it is. When you're onboarding your clients and they are coming into your world and you have a consistent proactive account management TBR, QBR process set up, they automatically fall into line and in terms of your process. Say, Mr. Client, every quarter, every 6 months, every year, this is what's going to happen because this is why we do what we do. This is how we do it, because it's all about keeping you safe and efficient and effective using with the most up-to-date technology. So we are going to have a review on these timescales. Is that okay? Well, it's not even, is that okay? They will just accept it. Older clients is harder. And that's where you're changing the perception of the client to you as a supplier versus a partner. Some, as I say, will accept it more easily than others. Others will never see the value. But you do have to reframe it and say, Mr. Client, I'm coming in not to talk about what you've currently got and to sell your thing. We need to talk about where you're going as a business and change the nature of the conversation, and also to talk to them about, particularly as you understand their stack of what they are buying or not buying, is actually to be able to say, look, you are at risk unless you upgrade to this, unless you change this, you are at risk. And possibly you may actually say, I'm not sure if I'm actually able to support you any more going forward, because if you're a risk, if I think you're a risk, then you're a risk to my business as well.
Yeah.
And that changes the nature of the conversation.
Exactly. And as you say, it's around protecting your MSP as much as anyone else. If they're not going to take a particular stack on security that you're going to insist, and you maybe want to do an opt-out,
Absolutely,
campaign or something like that, then they might not be a right fit anymore.
Yeah. And the other element about account management is something we talked about last time, which is the education phase, where your clients are coming in for lunch and learns. Possibly you've got regular emails and newsletters. You're using Exclaimer at the bottom of your email signature to just educate your clients, drip feed, educate them, so that when you go and talk to them, they'll go, oh, yeah, I vaguely remember you saying something about that. Or you can point them back to some of those communications in the past. So it's just maintaining the consistency of the relationship and the conversation. So that's the first part. The second part is planning for it and preparing for it and sending an agenda so they're clear about what's going on. And then it's about the business conversation, not the issues that they might be having or have had. And then make it memorable. When you have the meeting well, you can't do it if you have a call, but if you have a meeting, take cakes, take merchandise, be memorable, be it the client team look forward to you coming in because the receptionist loves getting the cakes and taking them around the office, or you get to walk around the office and drop a mug off to everybody, say hello, because that again bonds you to the client, and also allows you to understand what's going on the ground. That's the first thing.
Absolutely. I think that's so key to leave that experience when you're there, and particularly with the other people in the office as well, because they're part of your client. They might not be the one who's buying the service from you, but they're the one who's using the service. And you leave a little mouse mats or a few coasters or something like that, and then it reminds them of who you are, doesn't it? And the importance of what you add to that business.
Yeah, completely. And the second thing then is, when you're having the meeting, whether it's on the phone, follow a framework for the conversation, otherwise called an agenda. Build rapport. The conversation starts about then. How are you getting on? What's going on in your world? Remember and pick up on hobbies, family, things like that, so that you connect with the person before you start getting into the business side of things. So get the conversation going, then you're into business. How's business? What's going on? You can talk about contextual headlines of what's going on in the greater world, inflation, government decisions, vendor activity, anything that you think might be relevant to their business. That then allows you then to talk about what's going on in their mind. What's been going on in your business? Have you taken on more people? Could there be strategic developments going on? Capital investments, growth plans, mergers, acquisitions? Keep notes from one conversation to the other and get them talking. And that intro should be about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the size of the client and the complexity. The thing about the account management piece, it's an opportunity to be curious, Ian. And yes, you've got data that you can take in about what's going on in the client's systems, which you can talk about. Obviously, you don't want to get into the operational detail because that's what not this meeting is about. But the whole thing allows you to talk about what went on last time, what you've done since, maybe completed some big projects, some big upgrades. And then you can talk about what you're seeing, opportunity and risks from a technology point of view. Yes, cyber is the big thing, AI as a possibility. And then you're able to talk about opportunities around what technology could do. And so Power BI and the way in which you can help optimize the way systems function within the business is a great opportunity for further exploration, as is therefore the application of dynamics, and even getting people to move and consider Azure as the next stage of their stack. So there's a huge number of things to be able to talk about. And if you're in a compliance industry, even more so, to be able to talk about ensuring that they are compliant and remain compliant. And that's where the value add, strategic value add, comes in the conversation, rather than talking about the tech and whether they need 10 more laptops or not, because that just comes on the back of going, yes, we need to upgrade. Yes, we need a new office, etc. What the conversation is. So as you're closing that conversation, you're able to then review it and say, well, this is what we recommend. This is what we've agreed. Great. We'll have the next meeting in 3 months or 6 months. And in between, I'll get the team to make contact with your team to put all this stuff into action. That's the power of the conversation when it's well structured. The third piece in sort of the tactical side of it is, having done the meeting, is not then to go, oh, I'll just get around to it when I can. I've got to do a quote. Now, obviously, some MSPs listening to this won't have the team or the process set up yet to be able to hand it over, and it will be for them to do. But follow-up should be as automated as possible. So if we've used ticketing to plan the meetings in the first place, which we talked about earlier, when we come back, complete the ticket. What were the actions? Set the tickets up for the next activities. They've ordered some hardware. There's a project. Get it into the system. Get the quote management underway so that everybody in the business starts to be locked in to the delivery of whatever the next step is, whether it's invoicing, whether it's project quotation. And also, we want to get customer satisfaction feedback as well. So all of that should be automated ultimately, but if it isn't automated, have at least a checklist so that you can follow that through for yourself if you're leading the account management process, or with your team.
That's brilliant. So Stuart, just briefly before we wrap up, we're talking to clients every week about applying this process. Some of the stories that I've heard is one of the guys recalled that he'd upsold virtually every client 15%, and he never thought he could, because now we've got a structure and he got all the, we gave him all the email templates, the agendas and all the bits and pieces. So he literally went in with this pack and what he needed to deliver. Other people are just reporting back that they've got, they've now had the confidence to have these difficult conversations, because this, at the end of the day, this is asking for money, isn't it? But we're not actually asking for money saying, can I have money? We're actually asking for money in a roundabout way of saying, look, I want to add some more value and obviously increase your ability. But what are some of the moments that you've been speaking to some of the guys about when they've had some success with this?
Well, bottom line is, clients don't care unless you care. So you've got to take the lead. And when you set clients up, you've got to set up the process for care, for caring for them and for them to care about technology. So I think that's the fundamental piece. But the bottom line is, by doing this, you give yourself every chance of success to retain that client forever. If you don't do it, it will eventually, you will become irrelevant because you're out of sight and out of mind. And the opportunity cost, therefore, is the loss of that client and that revenue. But the MSP model is so powerful that these people could be with you for 20 years. And the compound effect of their contribution to your revenues and your profits is enormous, especially if that's across every client that you take on. The other thing to remember is that assumptions are the termites of relationships. So if you're not seeing your clients and you're going, they don't need anything, or they've got everything they need, you're making an assumption. And that is just one little chip away at a time at the relationship of them thinking you're valuable for what they need, or you're there when they need you. So I think you've got to be really careful to not underestimate the power of this. And then ultimately, just get started, get a consistent process going, do it consistently, and then think about bringing in automation and the clever stuff. Many of our clients are looking at VCI Toolbox, Cloud Radial, and Verisoft, and linking it in with Zementum and IT Quota and ConnectWise Cell, to really automate the process that we talked about earlier. But you don't have to start there. You don't have to start with all the automation. Just start with a checklist and a process and do it, because it will put thousands and thousands of pounds into your pocket and keep them there year in year.
Just start. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just start from. They're certainly not going to leave unless you've upset them, of course, and then we're going to make sure you don't do that beforehand. But Stuart, as usual, absolute bucket load of value, some real tactics there on account management across the last 3 podcasts. So guys, please pick these 3 up as a strategic tool in your MSP growth toolbox. Episode 136, 137 and 138 will go down in history. Thanks again, Stuart, for your time today. And again, if you're curious about where your business is right now, I want to scale it, it's a bit clunky, it's not quite working, I'm working too many hours, then come and take the MSP Mastery Quiz, and you can help score your business and get a ready reckoner on where you're at with its ability to score. Get a free report, tells you what you need to do, tells you the part of the MSP journey that you're in, and it's absolutely going to help you out as kind of a stage 1 when you should start thinking about these things. So that's it from me today. Thanks ever so much again, Stuart, for your time and effort putting this podcast together. I look forward to catching up with you on the next one.
Welcome. Take care, everyone.
Cheers now. So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, I'd love it if you could leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform. If you want to learn more about how to take your MSP to $1 million, or if you're already there, go faster, then come and join Stuart Warwick and myself in the Scale with Confidence Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.